The story begins, and we see that someone is after a food scientist who has created mutants. Through his research and experiments, he has created a new breed of creature. There's also a liquid that will transform any living thing into a mutant. The research on which the scientist worked was actually stolen from a lab where he had worked for years. That's why the lab wanted to capture this scientist. Their boss orders them to bring back everything related to the scientist's experiments, including the mutant creature and the transformative liquid. The boss wanted to use this mutant liquid to make her army even more powerful. But the scientist who created the mutant and the liquid had good intentions. He had no family and wanted to create mutants to fill that void. As he was working, the army personnel reached his secret lab. The mutant named Clive, created by the scientist, fights the entire force alone, showing his immense strength. When the force fires at him, the bullets hit some containers, causing a massive explosion, killing the scientist. Hearing the news of the scientist's death, the boss becomes furious. She orders her force to gather all the scientist's belongings, research, and experiments so they can create mutants. In their haste, they leave behind the mutant-making liquid, which now spills into a drain. They are unaware that the original mutant created by the scientist is still alive and had taken a test tube before the explosion. The scene cuts to 15 years later, where we see at least from Mutant Ninja Turtles. They knew both kung fu and ninja fighting styles. They would steal at night to meet their needs and hide in a sewerage area during the day. Fearing humans would never accept these mutant turtles. Their dad, who was a human-like rat, had forbidden them from going to the human world. The rat narrates his story, explaining how he was once a regular timid rat, often beaten by humans. One day, in the sewer, he found 3 baby turtles covered in green liquid. Feeling their affection, he couldn't abandon them. The liquid that covered the turtles also affected the rat, turning them all into mutants, forming a family. The turtles were curious about the human world. One day, the rat took them above, where they were mistaken for monsters and attacked. After a narrow escape, the rat decided never to expose his children to the human world again, fearing humans might harm them. To protect them from potential dangers, he taught the baby turtles both kung fu and ninja fighting skills. They hadn't faced any challenges yet, but the turtles wanted to venture into the human world again. The scene cuts to show some people on the road.
In a thrilling turn of events, a machine has been stolen, and before it could be caught by the police, it was taken away by a superfly, a massive mutant. This superfly is the same one we saw at the beginning of the movie, created by a scientist. However, it has now turned evil, becoming a villain. Ever since the scientist was killed by humans, it harbored a deep hatred for mankind. It wants to avenge the scientist's death and has created an army of mutants like itself. With the stolen machines and many more it had stolen earlier, it's trying to create a deadly weapon to wipe out all humans and rule the world. Those who survive will obviously be under its rule. We learn that the machine Superfly steals is from the lab of the scientist's boss. She's fed up with these thefts and decides to install a tracking device in the next machine. Meanwhile, the Turtles, who were enjoying their day in the human world, encounter a girl named April. She scolds them, but before she can say more, her scooter is stolen. The Turtles chase the thief and find themselves in a den of thieves. A fight ensues, and the Turtles, skilled in ninja and kung fu, defeat all the thieves. April arrives and is initially scared, but thanks the Turtles. They share their origin story with her, and she offers to help them by sharing their story with the world. However, the Turtles decline, fearing humans might harm them. April leaves her number with them in case they ever need her help. The Turtles are elated, having interacted positively with a human for the first time. They learn about Superfly's menace and decide to confront it. They contact April for assistance, and together they plan to confront and defeat the Superfly.
She will get a great opportunity to make a documentary. The documentary will convey the entire story of the Ninja Turtles to humans. She could also include in her documentary how these Ninja Turtles confronted the Superfly. However, she agrees to their request and meets them to inform that Superfly is on a major mission. He wants to create a very dangerous machine that can destroy the world. To build this deadly weapon, he has stolen many machines. He doesn't do this work himself, but gets it done through some thieves. Thinking of this, the turtles reach the hideout of these thieves, so that they can get to Superfly through them. The thieves weren't going to tell them anything easily. The turtles beat them up severely, and out of fear, these thieves had to tell the turtles everything. These thieves also inform them that another machine will be stolen today. We have chosen Superflight. The traitors say, "All right, we will do this job, not you." They reach Superflight with the machine, where they see someone already hiding. The traitors observe all the interactions between Ninja Turtles and Superflight, realizing that Superflyer isn't alone, but has an entire army. The Ninja Turtles, now seeing each other, realize they have become mutants due to a liquid created by a scientist. They were all brothers, and seeing this, Superflyer doesn't say anything, but introduces them to his entire community. Ninja Daniels then asks him, "Why do you steal machines?" Superflyer tells his entire story of how a scientist created him. The scientist was like a father to him, but humans killed him. He explains that he left with all his fellow mutants. He raised them. They wanted to live peacefully with humans, but humans didn't accept them. Humans treated them very badly, and now he wants revenge. That's why he has created a machine that will turn all humans into mutants. This machine will spread the mutant-making liquid throughout the atmosphere like air, turning all humans into mutants. In this world, only mutants will rule. Superfly explains that once the machine you brought is set up, his weapon will be fully ready. The Ninja Turtles don't like his plan at all, but they are afraid of Superfly and his entire army, so they couldn't say anything. They had no other choice but to pretend in front of Superfly that they have now joined his gang and agree with his plan. Everyone starts to leave in a van, and you start following them. On the way, these Ninja Turtles were trying to be clever. They wanted to take the real machine away from Superfly, but doing so would only make things worse. Fly realizes that they are not really supporting his plan. He was after them, and the four of them together couldn't face him. No matter how much they tried to protect the machine, in the end, Superfly takes it from them, and they fail in their mission. But it appears that suddenly a force has arrived. And this force belongs to the boss whose machine Fly had stolen. This force doesn't get Superfly's machine, but they take all the Ninja Turtles with them. When the Ninja Turtles regain consciousness, they found themselves in a lab, and in front of them was the boss. The Turtles realize that the boss's intentions are not good either. She wants to use the blood of these turtles to create more mutants, which will be very dangerous, and she will include them in her army. Now, all four turtles had been kidnapped by their boss. This news was significant, and April had to somehow convey this news to their dad. When April goes inside the sewer, at first, she gets scared, but then April tells him the whole story. Teddy had understood that his turtles were in big trouble. Therefore, he immediately decides to help them. He quickly arrives there and, with his intelligence and bravery, fights all the humans present there alone and saves his turtles. Together, they decide to go to the location where Superfly was building the machine. During this, April finds a serum in the lab that could turn any mutant back into a regular animal. By now, all the turtles had reached Superfly, and Superfly had captured them. They try to convince Superfly that what you are doing is not right. Taking revenge on humans this way is not the right approach. Here, the turtles try to involve Superfly's other mutants in their talks, and say that we should help humans. They found themselves in a lab, and the boss was right in front of them. The turtles realized that the boss's intentions were not good. She wanted to use the turtles' blood to create more mutants, which would be extremely dangerous, and she would include them in her army. The boss had now kidnapped all four turtles. This news was significant, and April had to convey this news to their father somehow. When April enters the sewer, she initially gets scared, but then tells the entire story to Teddy. Teddy understood that the turtles were in grave danger and immediately decides to help them. He quickly arrives and, using his intelligence and bravery, fights off all the humans present, and rescues the turtles. They all decide to head to the location where Superfly was building his machine. During this time, April finds a serum in the lab that could turn any mutant back into a regular animal. By now, all the turtles had reached Superfly, and he had captured them. They tried to convince Superfly that his actions were wrong, and this wasn't the right way to take revenge on humans. The turtles tried to get the other mutants on their side, explaining that they should help humans. In his anger, Superfly activates his machine, causing destruction. All the mutants try to stop him, but Superfly was overpowering them. They decide to attack Superfly together. In doing so, they destroy Fly's machine, and Superfly falls into the water. The turtles didn't realize that Superfly wasn't defeated yet. Underwater, Superfly turns all the creatures into mutants like him, becoming an even more powerful creature. He now sits ahead, ready to destroy the entire city. The turtles and Rat tell all the mutants that they can't let Superfly continue his destruction. They needed to do something, but they were unsure of their next move. One of the turtles calls April for help, and she recalls that day.
It reminds her of the serum she had stolen from the lab. Therefore, now April and the turtles come up with a plan and reach a place where they had to finish Superfly. April gives the serum to the turtle. The turtle loads it into a gun and shoots it at Superfly. But it had no effect on Superfly, except that he was now very angry. Despite seeing all this, the turtles were not completely overwhelmed. They still intended to fight Superfly, but then the turtles' eyes go to the TV screen where news about monsters was running, and all the Ninja Turtles were also being called monsters. They even thought the Ninja Turtles were with Superfly. When April sees all this news, she immediately goes to the news office and scolds the anchor for sending false news about the Ninja Turtles. She removes the news anchor from there and tells all the people the truth that the Ninja Turtles are not with Superfly, but they want to help us by finishing Superfly. They are also good, like us. April was now telling everyone that we should also support the Mutant Ninja Turtles so that they can fight their battle easily. It is shown here that all 4 Ninja Turtles had made a plan to take the anti-mutant serum and inject it into a stem of Fly so that the serum would mix with his blood and its effect would double. It would double the effect as people sit in a vehicle and start to complete their task. Superfly captures the oil before their plan could be executed. Another chemical was now with Brian, but it had also fallen. Then humans come to help, as April had revealed the truth about the Ninja Turtles. Finally, when all humans start helping the Ninja Turtles, the fight becomes easy for them. These humans quickly deliver the flag to the traders. Facing many challenges, the Turtles then inject the mutant serum into Superfly, which started reverting him to his original state. This means the fight was now won by the Ninja Turtles and humans. They had finally escaped from Superfly. People were also praising the Ninja Turtles a lot because they knew the truth about the Turtles. Thus, the Turtles' dream of becoming heroes was fulfilled because all humans had now accepted them. Therefore, all 4 turtles enroll in their school with April. Everything was very normal now, and everyone was very happy. Unbeknownst to them, another challenge was coming their way. The lab boss was actually keeping an eye on all 4 ninjas and had changed into Stoopfly Fly. He is now with the scientist. She wants to do something very bad, for which she first needs the Ninja Turtle, but she was taking the help of a strange creature to kidnap the Ninja Turtles. What's going to happen next? The story ends here with this mystery.